Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. I am John Clark. The Birds finally got their first win of the season. They had a fourth quarter comeback, 17 points in the second half. So how did Carson Wentz lead the young kids on offense to the comeback win? Here's Press Taylor. And who has press coverage on him? Our own Fran Duffy in Tape Study presented by Chickies and Pete's.
It is second down and 18. Wentz back again. He steps up. He is floating it, and it is caught by Fulgham, who's in for a touchdown, I believe. Yes, Travis Fulgham, a 42-yard touchdown from Wentz.
Excited to welcome into Tape Study this week, presented by Chickies and Pete's, Eagles quarterbacks coach and pass game coordinator, Press Taylor. Press, welcome back to the show, man.
It's good to be back. How you guys doing?
Doing all right, man. Well, let's jump into some of these plays here. We're going to cut right to the chase. Let's look at one of the biggest plays of this game, a 42-yard touchdown pass from Carson Wentz to Travis Fulgham. Take us through this play, and we'll talk it through as we watch it.
Yeah, obviously not a situation you want to be in, second 18, but this is something we like to carry against these styles of defenses. And this is something that honestly we ran earlier in the game in the second quarter. We ran it out of a 12 personnel set and got covered up pretty good. I think it ended up in a throwaway. And kind of came to the sideline and said, hey, let's do this out of 11 personnel. It gives us a better matchup. We'd thrown a 14-yard stop to Travis there in the second quarter. Called another one in the third quarter that got checked down to Richard Rodgers. And so it was kind of something too. We'd said, hey, if we get pressed into the boundary, let's take our shot with Travis on the go down here. And so the defense presented that opportunity. Travis and Carson were on the same page. This was all within the concept of the play, but this is definitely an alert versus press. And really, what's great about it is it's all on time. Carson's on time, the pocket's clean, the ball's up early. Travis does a great job fighting for space, working to stack a guy, and then, he really had no choice but to catch the ball the way we threw that one there. So there's great execution between those two. And, as a coach, the best part about it was if you go back to our Wednesday practice, we threw a touchdown to Travis on the left side of the field, about the same spot right here that was pretty sweet. So when you see that carry over to a game, that makes you feel really good.
Talk about that relationship between those two guys. Obviously, they haven't spent a ton of time being able to work together. They talked about only running it that one time in practice. Is there coaching going on in the huddle, on the sideline? Or what is that dynamic like on game day when he's called up the day before?
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes in on the side. Obviously, we get all the reps that are in practice, but then we'll pull Travis over to the side with us on a separate field and go through really every kind of route that he has in the plan and make sure we throw it and the two guys are comfortable on what they're expecting with those. And there's been honestly no bigger advocate for Travis than Jalen and Nate. They spent a lot of time getting to throw to him on practice squad looks, at scout squad looks, and they were really supportive of him. They were hyping him up to Carson. So, putting in that extra work on the side with those guys, I think that resulted in an opportunity right here and a big part of the game for us.
So you saw Travis Fulgham make that catch. The guy that led the receivers in snaps this week was the rookie John Hightower out of Boise State, and no catch bigger than this one, 4th and 4. Take us through this play and what the idea is to beat the coverage.
Yeah, this was another one, honestly, we called earlier in the game in a 3rd and 2 situation. We got a defensive holding on the guy covering Ertz, and then Carson ended up scrambling for a first. But this was one we came back to. It's got man answers, got zone answers on either side of the concept right here. So at the top was really our man-beating thought. We're kind of working a rub route, if you will. The cool part about it is 4th and 4 in the fourth quarter, big situation right here, and we're just kind of letting the ball go where the coverage dictates right here. So it just so happens to be it's Travis Fulgham setting a rub route for John Hightower, and Carson trusts those two guys. They step up, they make a big play when we needed it most. Executed it really well. John's doing a great job of buying time. There is a timing element to these pick plays. If you just go now, it either gets passed off between the DBs or the corner undercuts, and it makes it hard. But John sets this up for Travis. Travis sets his angle, does a good job to avoid contact with the DB best he can, make the DB make contact, not us. And then John runs through the catch point. I think this is one, too. As John grows, you're going to see John Hightower spitting through some of these and getting one-on-one with the safety right here, catching this and rolling out of this tackle right here. And that's something that we're excited to see in his development as he continues to grow.
So take us through now the big touchdown early in the game, the one that put the Eagles up on the board initially, 6-0, and it's a touchdown run from Carson Wentz. Just take us almost a football one-on-one kind of style here and why this play works against an overloaded front. You've got 6 defenders in the box against 5 men on the offensive line.
Yeah, obviously we're outnumbered. If the quarterback's just purely handing the ball to the back a lot of times, you're going to be outnumbered in the box right here. You're going to ask somebody to kind of block too. And a lot of times that's our backside tackle having to kind of sift through and block the most dangerous. In this case, it's purely a zone read. So we are reading the in-man on the line of scrimmage. Jordan Mailata is going to go vertical and get 56 in this picture. And then Carson just reading the defensive end. And he does a great job here of really extending the mesh point. So he's putting the ball back across his left hip right here and going to ride it all the way through to his right hip. That just creates a long, long mesh point. And the defensive end has to be decisive and make a decision. And right here, he feels the demeanor of the guy, his eyes really crashing inside on the back. He feels the ability to get the edge, and then he really doesn't know what's happening with the linebacker there. He's reading the defensive end, but Jordan does a great job of getting up on the backer, covering him up. Carson running the ride read, Boston separating off the disconnect. That's, a little coaching point right there that goes a long way and continues to pull the end. Then it's one-on-one. We've even the hats back out. Now we know the free hitter's safety sitting in the middle field. It doesn't happen often, but you get a chance for Carson to make a miss and get himself in the end zone right there, which is pretty sweet.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, your new official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Pick up your Eagles Fast Play ticket today. Welcome back, everybody, to Eagles Game Plan, and one of the keys to this game against the Steelers is going to be the offensive line. In the first 4 games, they had 4 different combinations of offensive linemen, and they've had 4 different players make their first NFL starts in the regular season. Let me bring in Mike Quick and Ike Reese, and one of those guys, Jordan Mailata. He had his first start at left tackle Sunday night. According to Pro Football Focus, only gave up 1 pressure. That's pretty impressive, Mike Quick. What did you see out of Jordan?
Guys, I thought it was quite the debut for Jordan Mailata. I thought he played outstanding. You think about a guy who 2.5 years ago didn't even know how to put on a uniform, and he's playing in front of a national audience, his first start in the National Football League. There were some negative plays, of course, but I thought he was excellent overall, the way he played the game.
All right, Ike Reese, the 49ers were missing some of their key defensive linemen. The Steelers, really good defensive front, including T.J. Watt, who's got 3.5 sacks in 3 games. How much different and how much more of a challenge is this going to be for Jordan?
Oh, it'll be a big difference and a big challenge for Jordan Mailata for the simple fact that now there's more footage on him as a player and what may be his strengths or his weaknesses. With only 20 snaps of action prior to last week's game versus the 49ers, there wasn't much footage on him, but he had 62 snaps in that game. I would imagine it'll be different this week. This week, Pittsburgh is a team that likes to attack. I would expect a lot of games up front from the defensive line plus outside linebackers. Jordan Mailata, along with his line mates, will certainly need to be aware of all types of twists and games that a defense like Pittsburgh will present him. It'll be a much tougher task this week than it was last week.
And with more on all those games and the blitzes, here's Greg Cosell with enemy intel, because the Steelers, they have the most sacks per game as a team, 5 sacks per game this year.
This week, the Philadelphia Eagles offense will face its toughest challenge of the 2020 season, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. The Steelers defense is absolutely one of the best in the NFL, and they are very good at all 3 levels. Their defensive front can rush the quarterback. They led the NFL in sacks a year ago. Their second-level defenders, the linebacker position, very good with excellent speed. And their secondary, really, really strong. Since they got Minkah Fitzpatrick a year ago, it's arguably one of the best secondaries in football. And their slot corner, Mike Hilton, he plays on about 70% of their defensive snaps. And Hilton is one of the best blitzing slot corners in the NFL. And we can go back to week 1 against the Giants just to show you how savvy he is, how aware he is as a blitzer. Now notice that Hilton is the slot corner, and he's pretty removed from the formation, so there's not any real alert here that he's going to come. And also, let's take a look at Bud Dupree. Dupree is the defensive end on that side of the formation. Now Dupree's going to immediately work up the field for his pass rush, but Hilton will blitz from distance. Look what he does. He actually starts to the outside. What that does is get Saquon Barkley to expand, expecting Hilton to come from the outside of Dupree. But Hilton is simply setting up Barkley, because what does he do with speed and velocity? Hilton comes back underneath, inside of Dupree, and gets a clean path to sack Daniel Jones. So this Steelers defense presents a real challenge for the Eagles offense. Carson Wentz and the rest of the offense will need to be at their best.
Yeah, it's been known as Blitzburgh. Of course, they're going to blitz. They're going to throw a lot at the offensive line. Eagles have had a lot of injuries on that offensive line. So, Mike Quick, what can Doug Peterson continue to do to help out Carson Wentz behind that line?
John, you know, I talked last week about running the football and establishing the run. Well, against a team like the Steelers, they are the best in the NFL in run defense. They're only giving up 54 yards on average per game. So, it's going to be very difficult to run the football against them, though you do have to try and run. But I think you have to keep Carson on the move. They were able to move him out of the pocket a little bit in that last game, and that's one of the ways that you keep this offense going.
And Carson has been one of the best quarterbacks over the years throwing on the run. Can you give us an example of that?
John, he likes to throw on the run, and especially when he's moving to his right. I think he's very effective. It makes the throw a little bit easier for him. But if you watch this play, John, all of the defenders, their point is to get to the top of the quarterback's drop. Everyone's going to angle for that position when they're blitzing the quarterback, when they're coming after him. Well, the best way to combat that is to move him. So if you start to roll him out to the right side, you'll see that it changes the launch point for the quarterback. All you have to get these guys to do is take a false step in the direction that you want them to go in to create more space for you on the rollout.
Y'all gotta move. Y'all gotta move. Give me some room. Give me some room. What up, Trent? Good luck out there, man. Third down. Y'all know what time it is now, don't it? Them dogs loose. Fourth down. Fourth down. Hey! Hey! Let's go! Ah! Oh, that's six. That's six. No, hold it. Hold him. Hey, Ben, don't break. He can't block me one-on-one. Y'all better get us some help.
All right, Fletcher Cox, he is hungry, and the Eagles have eaten the last 2 weeks. How about the defensive line, guys? 13 sacks for the D-line and 33 quarterback hits over the last 2 games against the Bengals and 49ers. Mike Quick, I'll start with you. Who most impressed you on that defensive front in San Francisco?
I got to say Derek Barnett. You know, he's healthy now, first-round draft pick of a few years ago, and he was drafted to do what we're seeing him do now. He takes on the former Washington left tackle, Trent Williams, and I think he just destroyed him play after play. In his chest, driving him back to the quarterback, speed rushing around him. You know, you saw a variety of moves that he put on Williams. I thought Derek Barnett was fantastic in the football game, and he's starting to show up the way we expected to see him play when he was drafted, a #1 draft pick out of Tennessee.
Ike Reese, for you, who stood out on the D-line for you?
Yeah, Derek Barnett certainly stood out to me, along with a player the Eagles traded for last year in Jannard Avery. I mean, you watch Avery out there Sunday night, and in his limited snaps, I believe he had 16 snaps, he must have had at least 5 or 6 quarterback hits, a sack or 2 in that game, and more importantly, he had plays that really affected the game and changed the game. You think about the Rodney McLeod interception, that was a direct result of the pressure that Jannard Avery was able to get on Nick Mullins and force that bad throw. When they traded for Avery, this is what they were anticipating. Jim Schwartz spoke earlier this week about they've been waiting on this breakout game from Jannard Avery, and it seemed like we got it last week versus the 49ers. And it's so important because you need depth on this defensive line. You need production from all those guys. So having a guy like Avery come off the bench in limited reps and be as productive as he's been, that bodes well for this unit moving forward.
I think we could have bet money you were going to go with somebody wearing number 58. Good call.
Hey, at least he's keeping up the tradition of number 58 being a good number to wear on defense.
Oh, yeah, keeping up that long history of number 58s. All right, here's enemy intel with Greg Cosell talking about that Steelers running game that the Eagles are going to have to stop. James Conner, he's gone over 100 yards each of the last 2 games.
Philadelphia Eagles defense, coming off a really solid performance a week ago, now faces another stiff challenge in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. This is an offense that's loaded with talent, beginning with the quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger. But the skill position players, both at wide receiver and running back, will really present a challenge. Now, we think a lot of the Steelers as a passing team, with Roethlisberger, who really likes to be in the shotgun, and a really good group of wide receivers that provide every dimension you want in the passing game. But over the last number of weeks, in the last 2 Steelers games, they've gotten 100-yard performances from James Conner. Now, Conner's been hurt a lot, but when he's healthy, he's a strong runner that has shown a little bit of juice this season. He's lost a little weight. He looks very good running the ball. So let's go back to the Houston Texans with the Pittsburgh Steelers and look at James Conner in the 4th quarter when they're trying to put the game away. This is what you'll see from the Steelers. Now, Conner is an offset back here with Roethlisberger in the shotgun. What they're going to do is they're going to pull right guard David DeCastro, one of the best pulling guards in the league. And they're going to also bring Vance McDonald, the tight end, across the formation. And on the front side, they will block down. This is what the gap scheme power run game looks like. And this is really well executed, particularly by DeCastro, the puller, and McDonald, the tight end, working across the formation. So Conner has a lot of room, and he gets to the 2nd and 3rd level for a 25-yard gain. So this is something that the Eagles defense must be aware of. Their D-line played very well a week ago against the 49ers. They must continue to do that against this Steelers offense.
Yeah, the Steelers have really been running that ball really well. James Conner, the last 2 games, averaging 6.5 yards per carry. So Ike Reese, it's not just the defensive front for the Eagles, giving up just 60 rushing yards in San Francisco. Everybody else is getting involved, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Anytime you have a good run defense, it takes all 11 guys, all 3 levels of defense to trust one another and be where they're supposed to be.
And Rodney McLeod had 8 tackles. Nobody had more in that game against the 49ers. How big has he been physically in the run game?
Oh, he's been tremendous. You know, some people can look at a defense and they may think the safety shouldn't be as involved in the running game, but the way the Eagles play defense, they need their safety. So go back last week against the San Francisco 49ers, and here's a great example of trusting your teammates, doing your job. You're going to see this run play here to Jerick McKinnon out to the left side of the Eagles defense. But what's important here is how they trust one another. Jannard Avery forces Nick Mullins to make this pitch. You're going to get Duke Riley take on one offensive lineman, so he's taking up a blocker. That allows Rodney McLeod, who's filling the alley on this play, to come down. Now, the one job Rodney has to do here is not get blocked by this offensive lineman that's out in front of him. He does a great job avoiding that blocker and then squaring up McKinnon and making a huge open field tackle. Believe me, it looks easier than it really was. That's a difficult tackle to make in the open field. Rodney McLeod, 8 tackles last week versus the 49ers. You're going to need this type of performance, not just from Rodney, but from everyone on defense this week.
All right, we showed you the game plan for the Eagles to beat the Steelers. It is a battle of Pennsylvania. The Steelers are 3-0. They're favored, but the 3 teams they've beaten, the Giants, Texans, and Broncos, have a combined record of 1-11. Eagles are underdogs, but they got a shot just like they did Sunday night. Check out our Eagles kickoff show at 12:15 on PhiladelphiaEagles.com to get ready and enjoy the game. Thanks for watching Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, your new official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Pick up your Eagles Fast Play ticket today.